Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you are all staying home, staying safe, and that you are all well. Today I wanted to make a video talking about a topic in relation to the coronavirus. Now, I'm sure that a lot of you are all absolutely fed up to the hilt with hearing talk about the coronavirus. I completely understand that. I mean, there is so much information on it already. Today, I'm not going to be trying to provide any information. That's not what I am trying to do. But I wanted to talk about specifically how blind and low vision people are dealing with the current situation and how blind and low vision people are actually being impacted by the coronavirus. So that is what I'm going to be talking about today. But as a whole, apart from this video, I don't necessarily see myself making a lot of videos specifically talking about coronavirus because I want to keep my channel positive. I want to keep it as a escape from all of that. Although I do have some other ideas in regards to topics to do with self-isolation that I would like to talk about. So today I wanted to talk about some specific issues that blind and visually impaired people are currently having because of the coronavirus and because of the way that society is having to deal with the current situation. I want to give a shout out to James Reth, another visually impaired YouTuber who kind of inspired me to make this video. He made a really interesting video about how blind people are dealing with the pandemic and some of the issues that we're facing, and I wanted to talk about some issues that I have found myself. Thank you, James, for the inspiration to make this video, and I'll also link his video down below if you want to go and watch that one after you've watched mine as well. As of the 11th of March, the World Health Organization classified the coronavirus outbreak as a pandemic, and it has become a really pressing issue. And here in the UK, in London, where I am right now, it's meant that we are all in lockdown and we can't go out, except for a few exceptions, such as to get food and medical supplies, to go and seek medical help, to go to essential key work. For example, if you work at a hospital, a care home, or if you are a key worker at a supermarket, for example, or if you want to take one form of exercise a day at your local green space or park. So it is really scary times at the moment. I have seen quite a few of my friends online talk about issues that they are facing as visually impaired people and indeed as disabled people living in a society that is currently dealing with a pandemic. So if you are new to this channel and you like what you see, do be sure that you hit the subscribe button and also be sure that you click the notification bell down below to receive updates when I post new videos. So get comfy and let's talk. Number one, hand sanitizer. If you remember, at the start of this outbreak, when there were confirmed cases in other countries, there was a real issue with panic buyers and people going out and panic buying copious amounts of products like toilet roll, pasta, rice, canned food, paracetamol, sanitary products, baby products, the list goes on. But the real issue that people with visual impairments had was hand sanitizer. And why is this? Well, it's because a lot of people who have got low vision or who are blind rely on their sense of touch. You need to be able to use your sense of touch to be able to do everyday things like read braille, to be able to navigate around your environment, to be able to find things. And it became a real issue because people with sight loss really rely on hand sanitizer because often we have to use a hand and we're having to touch so many more things than a person who has full sight would. And when it was becoming hard to get hold of hand sanitizer, it was becoming a real problem because it was like, well, we know that coronavirus is spread through touch and through touch contact of cough droplets. And now that we can't get hold of any hand sanitizer or hand soap, how are we going to be able to keep our hands clean? And also, you know, it becomes an issue because when you think about it, we're having to touch other people if we want to be guided or if we need to get assistance. And that means that we run the risk of spreading the illness and spreading it to other people. And at this point, there wasn't yet a restriction like there is now. There are now a lot of restrictions in place so that you can only buy 2 of a certain item from a certain particular range. So it meant that people are getting equal amounts of product. Even now, I try to order it online. I try to ask people to get it for me at supermarkets, and they just can't get hold of hand sanitizer, and it's becoming a real issue because it's forever in short supply. It's now become like gold dust. Next thing I want to talk about today is shopping. Shopping at the moment is like going on an arduous quest. Forget about Lord of the Rings. No, what we're going through at the moment, trying to get a loaf of bread from our local Sainsbury's or Tesco, completely knocks Lord of the Rings out of the water. But there are some real issues when you have a disability and when you have a visual impairment, actually being able to shop for groceries. Now the thing is, shopping online at the moment to get groceries is a really difficult thing because so many slots have been booked up. They're really limited on how many orders they can fulfill and how much stock they can fulfill for online orders. Now there are stores that have developed a system for vulnerable people, which is where they enable you to be able to shop online for your order, but trying to get those slots is again like an arduous quest. I've been on the phone to my supermarkets that provide it for hours to no avail. The thing is, yes, they might be able to find out if you are an elderly person, but what about if you've got an underlying disability that means that you need to be able to shop online as well? People with visual impairments aren't necessarily seen as being a more high risk or highly vulnerable case when it comes to coronavirus. I mean, I have an illness which means I'm high risk, but that is because of my illness, not because of my visual impairment. So trying to get an online order is really difficult, and I have seen so many people tweet about this online who've got visual impairments and other disabilities, saying that they can't get an online order. They can't secure a slot, they can't get in touch with their local supermarkets to try and arrange it, and they can't get in touch with their customer service teams to be able to ask them to put them in the vulnerable category and to be able to open that up so that they can get the priority slots for online orders. So then the issue being that you have to physically go to a store, to a supermarket, to be able to shop for your groceries. But then this is where the second problem arises, because the other issue is with social distancing. The rule is you have to be 2 meters apart at least from each person. If you're visually impaired and you have to go to a supermarket to try and buy groceries that you need because you cannot physically order them online because you're not able to, and then you're having to run the risk of bumping into someone or coming into contact with someone because you haven't seen them or they haven't seen you, and then running the risk of either passing it on to someone else or you contracting coronavirus because you've not been able to adhere to the social distancing rules, that becomes a real issue as well. And I mean, it's not even like now we can actually ask people to guide us because there is now social distancing rules in place. Now there is of course the option to take someone with you if you need a sighted guide, but what about if you don't have someone available to take you? Maybe they are high risk themselves who live in your household, or maybe a person is a key worker, and then what do you do if you have to go on your own and you cannot be guided by someone? Now I've actually heard cases of people being turned away from supermarkets because there is a fear from the supermarkets that the person with the visual impairment will not be able to adhere to the social distancing rules. Now, as someone with a visual impairment myself, I can respect that people are worried, people are trying to do their best, people are trying to do the best in the situation and trying to keep everyone safe, including the person with a visual impairment, and I completely understand that. But where does that leave people who need groceries? You know, people with visual impairments have to still eat, and then they can't buy them online. And what about people who then don't have people who are always able to go and get groceries and deliver them to that person? Now, another one of the issues that people with visual impairments are having, trying to be able to live day to day in light of the coronavirus, is when it comes to guiding. Now, people with low vision may or may not rely on guiding to be able to do things on an everyday basis, to be able to go out, mobilise, to be able to access services. Now that we are living in a situation and in a society where social distancing has to be adhered to for public health, it's now becoming a real issue for people to be able to do the things they need to do. Now, of course, we are now in a situation where we're limited to how much we can go out, but for people who rely on guiding to be able to go and do something like go to the supermarket or go to the chemist or go to a doctor's appointment or to be able to just go for a short walk, now that we're in a situation where that can't be the case, it is becoming very hard for people with visual impairments to be able to mobilise and have that degree of independence. And like I said, I know that we're in a situation where independence is being really strictly limited for all of us, but especially for people who've got visual impairments who need to be guided. And now if they're in a situation where maybe they relied on a charity to help them, or they had help from a carer or someone who is in their local area who doesn't live with them, and now they can't do that. Now they're in a situation where if they don't live with someone who can guide them, their mobility is very limited, and it's limited even more than people who don't have disabilities, who are already limited because of the lockdown rules that are in place for many of us. So that is also a very prominent issue as well. And the fact is, a lot of charities who provide disability services are limited themselves because of the coronavirus, and they're having to limit their resources and what they're able to offer through no fault of their own. But it just becomes an issue when you've got a visual impairment and you physically can't go out and you can't ask someone who is not in your household to help you and to guide you. The final one I want to talk about today is the issue that comes with keeping your mobility aids clean. Now, I actually posted a tweet about this when all this started, and I was talking about how people with disabilities who rely on mobility aids, and particularly those who are low vision, need to pay attention to keeping their mobility aids clean. So for example, people who have visual impairments may use a long cane, a symbol cane, a guide dog harness, a monocular, or various other visual aids to be able to get from A to B on a daily basis. But then the issue there is that we have to touch them, we have to hold them all the time, and thus risk spreading bacteria from an object or a surface that we've touched that may have the bacteria on it to that particular object. So we have to pay a lot of attention to not just washing our hands and washing our clothes, but also things like having to keep our mobility aids clean. We're having to use things like antibacterial spray, antibacterial wipes, alcohol-based hand sanitizer a lot of the time as well. And again, if those are in short supply, then what do you do? Because you physically can't clean them, and you're running the risk of then having a contaminated object that you have to touch all the time, because it's a necessity and it's a vital tool to be able to do everyday things. So there you have it. Those are some of the issues that blind and low vision people are currently facing due to the coronavirus pandemic. I'm not really making this video for any specific reason, because I know that many of these issues that we are facing are through no fault of anybody's. It's just an unfortunate reality of living in a world that is dealing with a pandemic. We are all facing hard times, all of us for different reasons, and it's just one of those things. We've all just got to work together, we've all got to be there for one another, we've all got to support one another. But I just wanted to make this video just to talk about the issues, just to give light to them, and just to help people understand that they're not alone and that we are all going through hard times. So let me know in the comments, are you low vision? And have you come into contact with any issues that I have mentioned in this video, or perhaps some that I haven't mentioned in this video? And also let me know if you are disabled and you are facing any issues at the moment, and let me know how you're doing anyway. No matter what your situation is, how are you doing? How are you all? Are you okay? How are you feeling about the situation? And let's talk, because social media has now become a huge online therapy session for us all. We're all dealing with these problems, and we're all using social media for good at the moment, it would seem. We're all trying to talk about these issues, and we're all trying to help each other through it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up if you, I don't want to say enjoyed it, because it's not really an enjoyable topic for any of us to talk about, but give it a thumbs up if you found it enlightening. Let me know if you did, and stay home, stay safe, and look after yourselves, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye everybody.